Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of watching a video of mine, thank you for stopping by. So today's video, this financial video, just a quick disclaimer, I am no expert. This is completely something that I do, and I thought I'll come and share my experience or my tips when it comes to finances. But if you want professional advice, you know what to do, so don't come at me for any reason whatsoever. This, I have about, I think 5. They're really nothing crazy. Just 5 tips that I've been practicing basically. And I'll say that I started saving when I was in junior high primary, and around that time, I was just saving for saving's sake. I was saving because I just like the feeling of always having money. But now, well, aside that, there are other reasons, like, you want to get this or you want to get that. You always want to be prepared. Okay, so for me, I always want to be prepared for what is coming. I want to be able to afford what I should be able to afford. Depending on the salary you are earning, there's definitely a wide range of things that you can afford. With the salary I'm earning, I don't plan on buying a car with the salary I'm earning. It's not realistic. Like, no, it's not realistic. So buying a car is definitely not part of the plan, but definitely I should be able to afford. And if I want to buy a new laptop, if I want to buy a phone, if I want to buy a tablet, if I want to go on a staycation or a weekend getaway, if I want to get something for someone, maybe a gift or something, if I want to fix my hair, get a new pair of glasses, buy a bag, a shoe, whatever it is, I should definitely be able to do that. So I'll say those are like rough idea of the plans and stuff. So if you have a rough idea of that, you should be able to know the steps you should take to get to that. So of course, very much realistic plans, realistic goals. As I said, if right now I say I want to buy a car, that is very much unrealistic. Even if I starve myself for the entire year, I still won't be able to buy it. So very much realistic plans, goals definitely is the key when you're saving. So yeah, so this is actually, okay, let me start from the bottom because it's kind of related to what I was saying previously. A goal, net worth related. So you should definitely have a goal or a plan that is financial based, so like net worth related. For me, I'm not going to come out here and come and tell you guys my plans, because I'm a little bit private, so that's just not going to work. But definitely this year I do want to change my glasses. I've had them for like a while. I've had them for about 3 years plus, and I think it's definitely due for a change. So that's definitely one financial related goal. I know I have a rough idea of how much it's going to cost. I know how much I'm earning. I know how much I need to save for a period of time before I get it, because I definitely want to get it before the year runs out. Today's 31st March. I'll practically say that the first quarter of the year is over. So I know that I have about 9 months more. This amount of money, I'm earning this much. So I know how much I need to spend to save every month to get that. That's just one financial related goal. So also, I do want to change my phone. I've had this phone for almost 2 years. The pressure to change it isn't even personal related. It's actually because of the kind of job that I find myself doing. I'm doing a lot of content creation, both professionally and as a hobby. So this because I feel like my phone, I need an upgrade because of storage, camera quality, and other specs. So that's also another thing. For that one, I actually don't know which phone I want to get, so I do have an idea of how much it's going to cost to get a very good phone in this era. So also, I know how much I'm spending, I know how much I need, I know when I want to get it, so then I know what I'm saving every month. So if you definitely have a goal, network related, financial related, or whatever, you can work towards it. It could also be that you want to be a millionaire in like 5 years. You have a rough idea how much you're earning now. You know what you already have, how much more you need to attain that status. So then you know how much you need to save every year to make sure that by the end of the 5th year, you're a millionaire. So you get the idea, you get the concept. You should definitely have a goal network related, because if you're just saving for saving's sake, it's going to be very easy to not go according to the saving schedule you have. It's very easy to always take money and spend it, because after all, what are you saving for? So definitely a goal, financial network related, is very key. Second thing, it's not really in order, so we're just going to go. But I'm doing from the bottom up: investment account and savings or current account. We all know that savings account, the interest on savings account is less than 1%. There are some places that savings account doesn't even have interest. It's just that they don't charge you for anything. But then with current account, they'll charge you for maybe ATM, and I'm not really sure on all of that. Every country is different, every bank is different. But basically, current account becomes relevant when you're working with a company, and they kind of request for a current account to be, crediting your account with the, let me say, debit, and then the bank credits your account with your salary. You get the point. But if not, you can just go for a savings account. Even though the interest is minimum, at least you know that you won't be incurring any cost, kind of, in a way, because if you do get some services, you're actually going to pay for them at the end of the day. But savings account is always a safer option if there's no need to get a current account. Investment account, obviously, way higher interest, so that helps you accumulate over time. But then it also depends on what you're putting in there. If you have an investment account with interest of 10% and you're putting in 100 cedis, then obviously you're going to be getting 10% of 100 cedis, which is 10 cedis. So that's it. But then obviously it's better than putting in 100 cedis in your savings account that's like less than 1%. What am I doing with 1 cedi a year? What? Anyway, so that's also something you should of course have. But then the key is, no matter how little what you're saving is, always have an investment account and a savings account. So the savings is for whenever you need money, you can reach out for it, and then the investment is like on lockdown. We are not touching it. It is an investment. But at the same time, you should have an idea of how much you want, what you want there. For me, my investment account, there isn't any particular, like I'm saving for mortgage, or I'm saving for a car, or I'm saving for maybe expenses that I want to incur during my wedding, or I'm saving for, no, nothing like that. My investment account is simply because I currently have the money. There's the opportunity to earn more on it, so why not an investment account? That's my focus of having an investment account now, to kind of the time value of money. So to kind of what's the word? I'm not getting the right word to use, but so that my money doesn't depreciate in value over time, I'm just using the investment account. So, but I'm sure as time goes on, I'm definitely going to have a reason for having the investment account. A reserve fund or an emergency fund. For me, I like to have my cash on hand. So I have an envelope with a stack of money, there's always a minimum that should be in that amount. That minimum is 200 cedis. Minimum 200 cedis that I have in an envelope as an emergency or reserve fund. So I hardly ever go to the bank for this purpose. Like, I hardly ever go to the bank to withdraw for this purpose, because if the money I'm currently using is done, I tackle the emergency or reserve fund, and then any time that I take out money is for the emergency or reserve fund. So I'm hardly ever withdrawing money on a daily or weekly basis to take care of my normal expenses. So yours can be, it can still be in your bank account, but it can be a particular amount that you always have to have in your bank account. You can also get a different account at a different bank. That's especially if like your minimum is like a high amount, you can definitely have a totally different account in a different bank, different from your savings or current account, different from your investment account. You can do that. For me, I just have to have it as cash. You can also have it on your mobile money. So if you have a mobile money account, you can have it on there as well. If you have more than one number, you can have the mobile money, the one that you normally use and the one that you normally don't use, as your reserve fund, emergency fund. When it's like really critical and you need to touch it, then you do. So anytime I realize that I will have to touch my emergency or reserve fund, I have to re-strategize, see if what I am spending is way above the target. If it is, I have to start being strict on myself. If it is not, and it's just time for me to go to the bank, then I know. So that's another key thing. The next point is percentage attributed to savings before expenditure. Half or quarter, okay, not quarter, 1/3 or half is advisable or realistic. So depending on the amount of money you earn, depending on your normal expenditure, then you know if it will be realistic to save half or 1/3 of your income. For me, it is realistic to save half of my income, because I am living with my parents, so I don't pay rent, I don't pay utility, so it's mostly just food, not food like, when you're out and about, food like when I'm at work, food when I'm out. I should be able to eat when I'm out. I don't necessarily always have to come home to come and eat. I should be able to buy treats for myself that I want to. So in that regard, I'm able to save half of my money on a monthly basis. My expenditure is strictly TNT, airtime, maybe if I need to go to the hairdresser, if I need to buy a watch, shoe bag, dress, that kind of thing. Nothing extreme, nothing capital intensive as well. I don't need to buy like fuel because I don't have a car, I don't drive, all of that. So it's very realistic for me to save half, and it's very good because as I grow, when my expenses become more, and then I'll probably have to, and maybe, of course, I'm hoping that my income will become high as well, but then maybe at that point it'll be more realistic to save 1/3. So I am utilizing this opportunity where it's realistic for me to save half of my income. So that's also one thing that you should definitely take into account. And then last point, any unspent aspect of my budget is considered extra savings. So it can be from transport, from lunch, from airtime. So maybe my mom is in a good mood, she says, take this 20 cedis, go and buy airtime, or I get lift from someone, or I don't go to work at a particular time. Savings. I'm not spending on transport, I'm not spending on lunch, I'm not spending on airtime. That money, I don't see it to be just regular. I see it as extra savings. So let's say rough figure, I'm saving about 200 cedis a month, and then within that month I don't go to work like 2 weeks in that month. So therefore TNT and lunch for those 2 weeks are extra savings. So I calculate, I think a day maximum, I think 20 cedis, so times 2, that's about no time for like 2 weeks, that's about 200 cedis. So it means that for that month I should be saving 400 cedis, not 200 cedis. So that's also it also helps with building my emergency or reserve fund, because sometimes I wouldn't want to take this extra 20 cedis or 50 cedis to the bank, so then I'll just add it to my reserve or emergency fund, and then maybe I've had enough of, I just want to treat myself to maybe lunch somewhere nice, or like maybe I want to fix a hairstyle that's a little bit out of my budget or something. I can use that money to do it. But then it shouldn't be something that's always on your mind that, oh, if I save an amount of money because of some sort of help that I get from somewhere, then I'm bound to use the money. No, it should immediately go as savings. You could go to your emergency or reserve fund, and then when you actually need to take the money, you take it out, and at the end of the day, you even be touching your emergency or reserve, and you just be touching the excess that you happen to save because you got some help from somewhere. So those are the 5 points that I practice when it comes to finances and saving, and I've been doing this since I was in junior high. Not all of them. I started building the habits over time, and this is what I practice. So I'm just going to go over them again. A goal, net worth related, have an investment account separate from a savings and current account, have a reserve fund or emergency fund. It could be an account, it could just be an envelope you have with money, it could be money you have in your drawer somewhere, your closet somewhere, whatever, your mobile money, whatever. Always okay, so this point, I actually didn't explain this point properly. The part where half or 1/3 is advisable or realistic. Now, what happens is you have to put aside that half or 1/3 before you actually spend. So if I'm going to, since I'm saving half of my allowance, salary, or whatever, when it comes in, I know that this half is going straight to my savings account or in my investment account, and then my expenditure is on the other half. So you save before you spend, because if you're going to spend before you save, you're going to end up saving very little. And of course, any unspent aspects of my budget is considered extra savings. So transport, lunch, airtime. Maybe you budgeted to do a hairstyle, but then someone is like, hey, let me pay for it. Maybe you've budgeted to buy a phone, someone buys it for you. Budgeted to buy a laptop, someone does it for you. You've budgeted to buy fuel, someone pays for the fuel for you. Anything at all, someone dashes you money in general, which can maybe take up your expenses for a particular point in time. All extra money should be extra savings and not something you just spend anyhow. Yeah, so if you have any questions, do leave them down below in the comment section. I'm going to do well to reply all of them. If you have any tip that is, of course, financial related, also share them so that we can all learn a thing or two. As I said, I'm no expert, so don't come on me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that in the next couple of years we'll all be millionaires right here. Love you guys. See you guys in another video. Bye.